Okay, so in this video I want to go through short questions, junior cert, higher level, where you're asked to convert areas of different shapes, usually triangles into rectangles and that type of question. Doesn't come up every year, comes up every maybe second year or so. So I'll run through the last couple of years where it has come up and hopefully it's a bit of a benefit to you. So the first question here is 2013 higher level paper, short question 5. And the way the question is presented to you is it's a newspaper page, and figure 1, which you can see, shows a triangle that represents the area of an advertisement. What they want you to do is they want you to convert the triangle to a rectangle of equal area to show the final size of the advertisement. So the broken line here is the triangle that they want us to convert. Change it into a rectangle. Now the process for this is actually quite straightforward. What we're going to do is, I'll just do a little sketch here of how you would do it in a kind of a normal sequence. So if you have a triangle that, let's say, looks like that, the more conventional way a triangle will be presented to you. What you're going to do is you're going to look at the base of it, bisect it, so that means you'll have a line going up halfway. Go to the top of the triangle, and what you're going to do is you're going to bisect that line that you've just brought up. So that means you cut the height of it in half. And then you go back to your base and you bring up either end of it, and what you're left with is a rectangular area which is equal to the triangle which you started off with. Okay, so in this question we have a triangle. As you can see, it's kind of upside down in terms of what we were looking at. So essentially this top line is the base. You couldn't really claim anything else at the base. So that's going to be the line we're going to bisect to begin with. Okay, so I'm going to bisect that with my compass. Like so. So that'll give me a perpendicular line running up, and I'm going to run it until it reaches the apex of the triangle, which is there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the length of that line from the base up to where I stopped it, and I'm going to bisect that, so cut it in half. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me the height of my rectangle. So my rectangle is now going to be between where the base of the triangle was and that line that I just drew there. So what I need to do now is go to the base of the triangle that I started off with and just bring both sides perpendicular straight down. So this one here is already brought down. And just do the same on the other side. And what you're left with is that area, which is rectangular, and that's the area that you want your advertisement to fit within. Okay, so that's the first types of those questions. Now the next question we'll move on to is 2011 question 5. So with this one, polygon, it's more than 3 sides, not a triangle. And what they want you to do is they want you to convert it into a triangle. But importantly, they say that they want the vertex of the triangle to be point B. So the vertex of a triangle is the highest point on it. So if B is going to be the vertex, obviously the base has to be down along here. Okay? So again, quite repetitive thing to do with these types of questions. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your vertex, and you've already identified that AD along that line is going to have to be your base. So what we're going to do is go to the vertex and join it to the point on the base which is furthest away from it. So if you're going from B to A or B to D, well, B to D is definitely further away. So we draw that line. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the angle of that line and we're going to replicate it from the other point on our polygon that we haven't dealt with. So in that case, that would be point C. So we're going to take that angle and we're going to replicate it from point C. And what's going to happen is it's going to go downwards, like so. And what we're looking for is, if I continued on the baseline, where would they meet each other? So I do that. Now, what that does is it finds the base of my triangle that I'm trying to draw. So the left hand side is A, and the right hand side is where those 2 points hit each other. B is the vertex, so all I have to do now is join both of those towards B. Okay, so my triangle that's equal in area to the original polygon is the triangle I've just shaded in there, that area. Okay, so that was 2011, question 5. So that's 2 questions practiced, changing a triangle into a rectangle, and then the opposite way around, changing a 4-sided figure into a triangle. And they're the procedures that you would typically use. Now we go on to 2010, question 5 again. Okay, this is one that can come up, the kind of fashion of a question that it is can come up very often, where you'll be given a particular figure and you don't have to convert it into a different type of shape. But what you have to do is you have to increase the current figure by a certain amount. So you have to increase its ratio, its size. And you have to try and keep everything in proportion to what it is already. So with this particular shape, we have a logo for a jewellery shop. It looks like a diamond. And what they tell you in the question is they wanted the length AB, which you can see on the right hand side, to be increased to AB1. And you can see the extra little bit that we're talking about. Now they want us to keep the rest of the shape in proportion to that increase. So the key thing to remember with questions like this is that whether you have a shape really small or the same shape really large, the angles that all the sides meet at are going to remain constant. So the angles are never going to change. So any lines that we redraw will have to be parallel to the original line that it came from. Okay? So the first line to draw is pretty obvious. It's the line that goes from A to B1. That's our starting point. So the right hand side has increased by that amount. Now obviously if this shape is going to remain proportional, the left hand side is going to have to do exactly the same thing. So I'll draw a line from A over to the left hand side, and I'll just bring over B1 and see where it would finish level with it. Okay, so I'll call that C1. Now to answer the rest of the question, I have 2 little lines coming up at an angle on the right and at the left, and I've already said that any new lines have to remain at the same angle. So what we can do is, from the 2 points that we have, B1 and C1, we can draw 2 lines that are parallel to the ones I'm talking about from those 2 points. So from C1, like so, and from B1, like so. Okay. Now the top line here again has to remain parallel wherever I draw it further up. To know exactly where to draw it, what we're going to do is we try and find a reference point. So for instance, this line here stopped at that point there. Now how will I find the equivalent point up here? Well, if you can pass a line that you can draw through it, it might intersect later on. So in this case, from the point A through that point that I've just marked off would be ideal, because it'll cut through it and it'll get me the same equivalent point on my new line. That means that I can draw my flat line going across from that point. And that means that all the lines that I've drawn are all parallel to where they originally started, and they've all increased by the same amount. So the larger diamond shape is like so. Alright, now the last question I'm going to run through with these type of question is 2008, question 14 on the short questions. So when you go on to that, we're back to our triangle. What we're asked to do is convert it into a triangular sail ABC of a boat. What they want you to do is draw a rectangle, as you can see, which has the equivalent area. So this is going back to one we practiced at the very beginning of this video. We identified the base of the triangle. Now the base of the triangle in this case would be AB. The vertex is C. So if you remember the steps, go to your base and bisect it, and then draw that line going straight up. Go to your vertex, bring it across, Take that height and bisect it. That gives you the top of your rectangle. And then go to the base of your triangle and bring the two ends straight up. Okay, so that's my rectangle shaded, and it's equal in area to the original triangle. Right, that's where we leave it.